So, so just for clarification around how long do I have?
Yeah, so 10 minutes plus 5 minutes of questions. It doesn't have to be exact, but that's what we're aiming for. Does that
Sounds
work?
good. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So first, a little bit about myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Kris. I am the CEO and founder of Lento Bio, a company which I founded about a year and a half ago. So my background, I was originally a neuroscience PhD. Have been interested in the longevity industry, and I eventually starting a company of my own since quite a while back. Got interested, back in 2008 when a lot of the aging damage related ideas came out, and that was really my focus to in terms of what I wanted to do. So after my PhD, I did consulting in competitive intelligence, and especially in kind of looking at the clinical landscapes, clinical development landscapes for different aging diseases. And in ophthalmology, I thought was some of the most interesting different places in terms of aging diseases, different indications. So I came up with the idea of Lento relating to what I saw as a big opportunity in the presbyopia space and a way to extend that towards aging damage in general. So I'll bring up my slide now. Um, there we go. So LentoBio has two goals. One is to develop a treatment short-term for presbyopia, and the second is to develop it kind of extend that into uh, different treatments for other aging-related diseases, which utilize some of the same mechanisms against the extracellular matrix and different crosslinks and aggregates which build up. So an important aspect of how we were founded. So I came up with this idea for a really not just an indication focus, but a specific screen and assay during consulting. And I brought it to the attention of people at AITCare because I knew Kelsey Moody, who was CEO of AITCare before all of this started. And so they provided a seed funding, and we're working out of the AITCare Labs, which is a very expansive campus in upstate New York. They also are a CRO, so we're utilizing their services for all our in vivo studies, and then also don't have to rebuild the wheel with a lot of other aspects associated with kind of operations. We're not a subsidiary of AITCare, but we are under their research umbrella as an external corporation. And then we also have some academic collaborations. I mean, we're affiliated through Clarkson via AITCare, but also I'll tell you a little bit more about our Florida collaboration, and we recently started another one on top of that. So we have a pretty big team in terms of different people who are working on the managing the projects, or who are advising. So Kelsey Moody is the other director who has helped me with a lot of the early initiation of the business. And then we have a multifaceted team of scientists through collaborations and elsewise, ophthalmologists, chemists, and other specialists in the area. And so to the specific science, though, my real interest is targeting protein cross-linking. So protein cross-linking and aggregation are one major form of macromolecular damage in aging, and there's a number of different types. So I think one of the most one of the ones of the most longstanding interest in the aging field is glycation. So there was glycosens, which came out a while ago, which with ending aging and sens, and that sparked some initial interest, but there's also been a ton of research in general about the negative role of glycation. So it increases inflammation via RAGE receptors, and it also just directly causes cross-linking. And there have been some small molecule strategies tried against it, which have showed limited success. But we I think that we have specific strategies to expand both to other crosslinks and to potentially target more targetable age crosslinks of the eye. So I think I really feel that the eye is a great place to start any type of aging related company focus. So I won't go on about this too long, but the eye is a place where you can give drugs at a much higher concentration. There's a bunch of aging diseases and glaucoma, macular degeneration, etc. I think presbyopia is interesting for a few specific reasons, which I'll mention in a second. But generally, you don't have to worry about first pass metabolism. You don't have to worry about liver toxicity. And there's a lot of huge reasons that it's a lot simpler. Also, manufacturing, the cost of manufacturing drugs, including during development, is much lower because you just need much smaller quantities of things. And this follows that a lot of the main hallmarks of aging, some of the most advanced companies in those spaces started out working with or are currently working in the eye, and their lead asset is an ophthalmology asset. So for example, with mitochondria, we have Mitotech, which it has a phase 3 trial for its mitochondria-related therapeutic in dry eye disease right now. So that's the most advanced mitochondria-related therapeutic being applied to an aging disease. It's not the first thing I think of when I think of mitochondria, but there's a lot of advantages towards doing things in the eye. Likewise, Unity Biotech was the first company to make senescent senolytics or to put them into clinical trials. And after a failure with osteoarthritis, they pivoted to diabetic macular edema, and they've had success so far. They're in phase 2B. So these are just some examples of how it's really good to start with an ophthalmology indication. And Lento Bio wants to do that same thing in presbyopia. So presbyopia is the earliest onset and most ubiquitous aging disorder. It happens to everyone between age 40 and 45. So it's extremely visible. Most people don't know what the word means, but most people do know that they need reading glasses once they hit around that age. And it's $9 to $18 billion estimated market. That was from a 2018 or no, a 2020 report, so it might even be larger now. That's because everyone in the world gets it. So even if you're not even if it doesn't cost as much per patient as advanced macular degeneration therapies, it's going to be a huge market because it could apply to anyone over age 40. Additionally, something about presbyopia is really important to me is that it's a very straightforward disease. It's literally just the inability of the lens to bend correctly. The lens needs to bend to focus light in the retina. When it can't, you get loss of near vision. So this is near vision loss due to lens stiffness. The lens lacks nuclei and organelles after it's fully developed. It loses them probably largely to maintain transparency. Also, it has very little metabolism. It's largely just proteins, crystalline, they don't turn over. And I think this is really interesting because we have a nearly monovariate aging system, right? So long-lived protein damage is the driver of presbyopia. Not only does the tissue just need to bend, but long-lived protein is basically what makes up the lens. And also, something that was important when I was covering competitive intelligence was there's a dearth of good treatments being developed in terms of eye drops. So there's been investor interest for a while, but people are working on these things called miotics, which are short-acting and don't cure the underlying aging damage. They're really suboptimal and they give people headaches. So I think that, some people really have a very negative experience with presbyopia. It can extend just beyond inconvenience. And we could really improve the standard of care. We could make it so people don't need reading glasses. It would be extremely visible to people who might otherwise not even think about rejuvenation-related therapy. So what did we actually do to develop our drug? So what I started out doing was a phenotypic screen, which was basically seeing how much a lens compresses. So this is the established go-to measurement used by academics and also the few other people in industry who tried lens stiffness related assays. It's something you can do for very cheap. It just takes a dissecting scope and mouse lenses and the treatment compound, basically. So we were able to go kind of a medium throughput screen through a lot of drugs, which showed proof of concept in literature. And we got a hit, followed it up in vivo, and we've shown that there is a 44% return to youthful levels from aged levels in 8-month-old black 6 mice. So this is actually one other really nice part about this. You don't need to use genetic models. You can use just aged inbred mice. So I think there's a lot of legitimacy to these results potentially. We're not looking at some artificial crosslink that we're putting in there. And
you're at 10 minutes, by the way, Kris. So
what?
You're at 10 minutes. So
okay, sorry, I have about 2 or 3 minutes left. I'll go quick though. So yeah, that is our foundational thing. It's a really strong results, I think, initially, but we want to get improved leads. So we're under the lead optimization stage. And to do that, we are targeting multiple different crosslinks. And there was, for example, one compound before us called lipoic acid choline ester, which was developed by a startup and acquired after a phase 1 for $465 million. We have already shown that we can improve ex vivo on this compound. It was actually got to phase 2b trials, but it was not quite efficacious enough there. So we think this shows the huge potential of this class of compounds, and also the fact that just by having a multimodal strategy and better pharmacokinetics, you might be able to improve the efficacy. Lastly, related to science, we have been working with Florida State to develop optimized lead compounds, and this is, so we've already got 2, which are basically iterative derivatives of our starting compound, and they are significantly improved ex vivo. We're following that up with our in vivo assay, but we've already gotten provisional patents on those. Plus, we've licensed an additional patent from a leader in the field. This is not public yet who exactly it is, but that is going to be also applied to this same aspect. So we have IP and optimized leads, which are currently going into pivotal in vivo studies. And hopefully in the future, we can apply it to some of the things, maybe with slight modifications to diabetic complications. It also may have benefits against cataracts because cataract has a lot of conserved physiology. So we're leading towards pre-IND studies right now. But also more short-term, looking at doing the final in vivo proof of concept for our most optimized compound and doing formulation. So what I am doing right now is I am raising $1 million bridging round at a $15 million valuation. So I think that eventually I'd like to get a little bit more work relating to the final in vivo results in the formulation done and raise money for the pre-IND. But at this point, I think that any interested angels who think that this is a good strategy for targeting this very straightforward aging indication, I'm raising $1 million in safes with the minimum ticket size, which is negotiable. So the eventual goal is to probably be acquired by a pharma company. I think there's a lot of interest in this space. So, yeah. Okay, thanks. I don't take any questions.
Thanks a lot. Questions from the audience?
Okay. Well, nice presentation. So this compound 7 that you mentioned, does it come from a proprietary library? And do you plan to just focus on compound 7 and its analogs and derive more? Or do you also want to look at other, in the company? So would you also raise IP towards like other molecules?
Yeah, so that's a great question. First of all, if you want to follow up at some point under NDA, I'm also giving people specific details over the actual class of compounds and what we're doing with them. Right now, that was our hit from a number of GRAS compounds we screened. So it is generally regarded as a safe compound to start. The derivatives, though, have large improvements and are patented. So right now we're focusing on that derivative line, especially since the new patented compound we licensed also falls in that same optimized derivative of this initial compound area. But long term, we are interested both in further derivatives for other things and potentially new compounds. But right now, yeah, compound 7 and its derivatives are the focus.
Okay, great. Thanks.
So I have a question in terms of the competitive landscape. So you mentioned LASIK. So what are the advantages of this over LASIK? Is this just price that makes it better, or?
Yes. So I think that probably monovision LASIK would be my #1 alternative choice, to be entirely honest. So the monovision LASIK is where you have corneal LASIK on one eye, such that the refraction is good for close things, and the other eye it's for long things, right? So I think the main advantages compared to that, one is that you have you might lose some stereoscopicness to your vision if you have two different depth lengths, and that's been recorded as a side effect for a number of people. The other one is just about accessibility. I think that potentially we have an eye drop, which, if everything worked as it theoretically should be working, could be taken for a period of time and then basically not taken for a while until the damage reaccumulates. So I think it has the potential to be something which is really low cost of entry.
What do you think is the amount of time until you would need to redose?
Is very hard to estimate. I will say that the lipoic acid choline in their phase 2A trial was, and also I think their phase 1 trial were using 3-month treatment time, and then tried a 3-month washout period and showed that there was some preservation. So I think since we're already looking like we're going to have significant advantages over that, it would be the 3-month treatment time plus longer than that until you need to redose. I imagine it wouldn't be more than a few years. That would be the absolute best case scenario, but I look forward to seeing.
That's not too bad. People can take more eye drops whenever it starts bothering them again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And because this is an aging audience, so do you think there's model expansion or indication expansion potential for these drugs to beyond the eye?
Definitely. Sorry, I kind of ran through this slide because I was running out of time, but I'll just talk about it in slightly more depth then. It's not going. So here it is. So I definitely think there's potential expansion. So there's a number of crosslinks and aggregates in the eye, some of which are translatable, some of which are not. So for example, intermolecular disulfides are a big issue with crystallins, but not so much with collagens, for example, because they don't really have cysteine. So, but other things like glycation end products could be extended. The glycation end product profile of crystallins is very different than that of more traditional ECM, but I think that we can work on expanding. And the nice thing is I have this really good team at Florida State, right? And Jim Frederick is kind of a world leader at taking compound and optimizing specific function. So we're going to try to also work on really specifically good against glycation end product derivatives of what we have now for diabetic indications. We know we have data to say that at least some of the modifications we have now do inhibit glycation end products, but we have room to keep expanding in the future. And we're already setting up models and assays for these 3 diabetic indications, retina, nerve, and kidney disease from diabetes. That's going to be the major focus. cataracts, I think, will be something which we will look for in those treated for presbyopia, because the ideal scenario would be, you take this and it has some amount of preventative effects for cataracts.
Okay, thank
I have a quick question. So, if there's time.
I think we're out of time, actually. Do you want to ask them in the chat?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thanks.
Well, thank you all so much.
Kristen, can I ask a quick question?
Sorry. We're really like a little bit out of time.
All right, that's fine.
Okay. So Nikhil, do you want to go next?
Hey, yeah, sure. Thank you for organizing this. I'm sharing my screen.
I'm not seeing it yet. There you go.
Okay. Cool. Hey, probably some of you might have already heard about Helium since this is a longevity audience. But now I wanted to brief you about all the things that were happening and what we are up to. At the crux of it, Helium is a personalized longevity coach, and we provide a few tools to enable you to guide yourselves to improve your health. So most of the audience here already is aware that health consciousness is on the rise, and people spend on blood tests and wearable devices. They screen so many parameters, and you don't really have any clue on if you're getting healthier or not. Because all of these parameters and the data collected from these places is not truly actionable in a day-to-day basis. Most of the metrics are like you have done 10,000 steps or 20,000 steps, and you literally have no clue if it has changed any metric or even if it has any causation in anything at all. So which is why we built this solution, and the entire UX and the user journey is focused on helping you condense all the blood work into a single North Star metric called biological age, and you are incentivized to keep improving this North Star metric, and to do so with the mobile app and the longevity GPT bots that can be accessed through WhatsApp and Telegram. You get personalized suggestions based on your habits. I'll get into it in more detail, and then you'd be able to quantify the correlation and sometimes causal impact of any of the habits that you track. Your habits could be some drugs or supplements that you might be currently experimenting with, so that you can truly figure out if your biological age has decreased, which is trained in such a way as to represent a decrease in the risk of diseases. So the way it works is we have 3 input modalities. One of them is the blood work, and you can connect any health variable, and some of the habits are user logged and some of them are automatically tracked. And we have made the aging clock. This is more like the phenotypic aging clock, like the Levin's clock, but it looks at more markers, and it is trained on around 5 times more data from partners in India, US, and the UK, and it is trained to assess the morbidity risk and full body mortality risk. So it has better hazard ratios than the existing phenotypic clocks. So you would be able to see all your scores, and you are incentivized to improve sleep, stress, and energy scores every day. In response to improving these scores, after 6 months or so, you would do another blood work and see if your age has decreased. Because biological age as a metric cannot guide you every day, but sleep, stress, and energy scores keep changing every day. So you can see which protocols are giving rise to inflammation or something like that. Being a direct-to-consumer product, we already have many direct-to-consumer products which are into the preventative blood workspace, wearables, and habit tracking apps. But as we just discussed, there is no place where all the three of these are properly integrated for an end user to figure out what is the right precise thing that they're supposed to do. So this is how the app works. At the crux of it, your biological age. You could order a blood test from us. These are the regular parameters like the standard biochemistry, kidney panel, and liver panel. Or you could take it from anywhere using your insurance and just upload the reports. And you track various habits, and then you see how each of your habits has any causation or correlations. So this is how you'll be able to track the habits. You can set any custom habits, and you will be able to see for each of the habits that you are tracking. For example, coffee, you can see how each of these scores have been responding. And as you try to improve these scores, you get more of these heal rewards. These heal rewards gives you discounts in the blood work if you get the blood work done within our partners. And eventually you would have more and more rewards driven ecosystem for having more and more heal rewards. So in response to improving your sleep, energy, and stress, you are ought to decrease your age and get health discounts. The insurance, you will also get life insurance benefits, but this is not in the United States. We are operational in US and India. This is more for the Indian audience. So you might have seen some other products in this area that does similar kind of things. I want to focus on the differentiation aspect of it. So when you compare with other companies like Insert Tracker, MyDNA Edge, or Humanity, one of the main focuses is the ability to screen organ-specific morbidities. And the other thing is to be able to add blood work from anywhere. By anywhere, I mean not just in the US, no matter where you are in the world. I'll get to it why it's important piece. And then the product gamification aspect of providing you in-community benefits. So we also run a community called Deathless, which is mostly active on Discord, around 600 people, and also on TikTok, around 70 to, I think it's 80,000 people right now. It's an app. So you have to pay $10 for screening the age if you already have the blood work. And we also take commission from our diagnostic test partners. And we are currently working with the insurance companies to give life insurance premium discounts for people with enough heal rewards. We also, as of now, we don't take money for this, but we partner with research institutes to sponsor graduate thesis projects where the data from the app goes to the specific researchers to study the efficacy of any specific protocol on the outcomes. So right now, two of our partners that are currently doing the studies are Carnegie Mellon University, which is in the US, and then IIT in India. So these two studies are about the they may sound silly, but we don't have the data for them. In what kind of people is fasting a good protocol? For example, if you have high cholesterol or if you have very high diabetic levels, is it still good to do fasting to control aging? And the second trial is how much water, what is the best model of the water intake? Or at least the proof that there is no such best model of the most optimized water intake. And our users are majorly longevity enthusiasts, people interested in fitness and other preventative healthcare practitioners. We go across various platforms to acquire all these people. So we have several other partners that made us help reach all these goals. So right now it's a 1.5 million records. We buy data directly from the diagnostic test centers. We are around 1,500 users right now on the app. I'll give you the links to the app so that you all can start using it. Our team is majorly, some of them are serial entrepreneurs, but with experience in security, product, business operations, and DAO related stuff, not much in bioinformatics, and majorly focused on the user experience and being able to get the data and share the data with all research institutes. We are also fundraising currently $3 million for scaling our operations. What it means is we also partner with gyms and employee health insurances to have a much more wider user base. So the data that comes out of it is much more diverse. And every time we get some data, it's the blood work. So, so you have the biomarkers and the habits and the metrics from the variables. So every time we do like a study, the study is trying to understand, is there any subcluster as characterized by the blood work where a specific habit can impact a specific outcome in a specific way. So if you are at a personal level interested to improve any of your aspect of your health, you can set up this as the goal and then try to see how you can do better. And most importantly for the science, we know that randomized control trials today are not personalized. Disease interventions are not separated and stratified by aging, and people and companies are not incentivized to share the data, and we don't know how to test organ-specific comorbidities. So keeping all of this in view, the product has been shaped in such a way that we incentivize people heavily to share their data with the trials. And people also talk a lot with the longevity GPT to get personalized answers, where every line in the answer is backed by a source. We are improving this longevity GPT with something even broader now called longevity genie, where now we have agents that are also in contact with the aging databases. So you also can ask science-related, very tough questions, and for every line, it will still back the answer up with a source from the research. I think this is it for my pitch. You can scan this and go to the bottom of the web page to download the app. And I would request you to please test it out and let me know what other features should we add to make it easy for you to biohack.
Thanks so much. Questions? Can you talk? So I think you already, maybe, let's see.
Kristen, I had a quick question.
Sure, go
Hi,
for it.
Nikhil. So how many testers, how many users do you have currently? I think you might have put up the slide.
Right now it's 1,500.
And they're all based in India or parts of the US?
No, around 900 of them are based in India and 600 of them in the US. Not exactly 900, 600. There are like around 100 of them spread everywhere, but of the 1,500, the ratio is like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, one more small offer. This is not an ask. So we have a TikTok. So this is something that we built from scratch. So if you guys want to promote any of your stuff, you could just like let me know. We share health information for free. All of this audience wants to listen to health stuff, so we can share some stuff here.
That is so great. Cool. Well, I think in the interest of time, we'll move on. But if people want to find Nikhil, he has his information here on the slide, and also can reach out on Longevity Global Slack. And hopefully some people will be new users and give some feedback in real time. So that's
awesome.
good.
Thank you, guys.
Ravi, do you want to go next?
Hi, Kristen.
Hello.
Sure. I'm sorry, I had some technical issues in the beginning. Couldn't join time. I'm sharing my screen.
Okay, we can't see it yet, but yeah. There you go.
Okay. My name is Ravi Joseph. Just wanted to give an intro. Kristen, thank you so much for this opportunity to come here. And it's a great opportunity to pitch in front of all Longevity Global people. So I just wanted to give a story of it. The reason why we started this one, what it is, what made us to, enter into this longevity. So I grew up in India. I did my bachelor's there, and then I was working for IBM GVS. And while I was growing up there, I never seen any case like in memory loss. I never heard anything like permanent memory loss. The people had issues with the minor changes or short-term memory losses, those things, but it never heard any permanent memory loss like Alzheimer. But I moved to States in 2010. Since I'm Christian, I grew up as a Christian, so I used to go to churches, mostly in New York, New Jersey, those places I lived, Michigan, northeastern states. I have seen mostly older adult people, and they have memory issues. So one day we were visiting to one of the older adult place along with the pastor. So the old lady, she was kept asking us, would you like to have a coffee? So we heard this multiple times, more than 10 times. So we thought, I thought it is a part of culture, but later pastor told us that it's not a thing, but this is more of a disease called Alzheimer. That's when I realized, okay, there is a disease. So, and older adults are also having issues like cuts, bruises, and everything. So I started comparing the cultures between India, why India doesn't have this problem, but why US has these issues. India has a 3-generation household, which is, but in US, we don't have 3-generational. And people are mostly living isolation is more in US, but not in India. So, but anyway, that's a cultural thing. Each culture has its advantages and disadvantages too. So while I was comparing, what I have seen here is there is no active monitoring that's happening. So I think active monitoring is very important. So that's when actually we came up with, when we are placing an active monitoring, what is more important is the privacy. So that's where we build this privacy first active well-being monitoring using AI. So we named it as AITCare. So our goal is, our mission is to do the proper monitoring and then help them find the diseases, early stage symptoms, and then give them the cure instead of waiting for end of the stage. Instead of looking for the cure at the end, better you monitor and then prevent it in the beginning itself. So I'll go through the deck and show you this. The problem is, as you all know, it's a big problem that we have in the country is the memory loss. So that's because of the lack of appropriate monitoring. And the symptoms, actually, if you don't look for the symptoms, that is actually causing them to go for the memory loss. If you can identify the symptoms early stage, the cure can be easy. And higher healthcare utilization. 7 million populations that are suffering with Alzheimer today, as of 2022 stats. And the interesting fact is 7 out of 10 people would like to know their symptoms. They are suffering with any kind of memory loss things. And nearly $400 billion of money, the Alzheimer is costing us. And the lack of caregivers. And the delay in symptoms, actually, so this is what actually we wanted to do. The delay in detecting the mobility, few senses like in hearing loss, isolation, depression, frequent mood changes, those would be giving a lot of signals, signs by looking at something. Higher healthcare utilization, and no memory loss prevention so far. The next biggest problem is the falls. Again, this is lack of appropriate monitoring. Detecting the ADLs would help them to live longer, healthy life. At total 3.5 million populations, older adults are having injuries or accidents every year. And the delay in detection, this is the saddest part. The delay in detection is, it takes average 12 hours of time to detect a fall. And high utilization, healthcare utilization, it's a 3 to 6 months time to recover the older adult, because the healing takes long time for them. and 50 plus billion dollars annually, approximately, it is costing healthcare. And out of pocket, again, it is costing $6,250. And there isn't any proper fall prevention in the market, I would say. There isn't anything. So what gives is basically the changes in activity or better routine may indicate risk of fall, but we need to look at their ADLs closely and then see what changing. And our solution is actually, so we say it's a prevention is possible through AITCare because we do the active monitoring. So we use artificial intelligence. Using this AI, we monitor 24/7. The form factor is a camera. So the camera comes into two different is. One is the RGB camera or infrared. That's the first one. The second one is the edge cameras. The RGB or infrared cameras streams it and then sends it over to the cloud. That's where we have the AI/ML models that runs. And we go by the HIPAA guidelines, everything. So the data, we never record anything unless if there is any abnormal behavior happening in the older adult. And then if it sees anything abnormal behavior, it sends a notification directly to the caregiver or a provider or a family member. In some cases, it sends notifications to all the people. And yeah, the next solution that we are building this one is this edge device solution. Just basically a device stays inside the house. There isn't any internet, and it doesn't consume much of the electricity or anything. The edge computing comes with its own processing speed and everything. So all our AI/ML model runs on the device. So there isn't any the data privacy related issues that people will have. And again, we go by the HIPAA guidelines here. Everything will be encrypted and the data will never stored on any of these devices. In case of only anomaly, data gets stored on the edge as well. So the only people that are authorized to access this device, they can only see the data. No one else can see the data. And ADLs, what it does is basically, since it is 24/7, it detects all the ADLs and the symptoms of the memory loss and falls and near falls, and kind of routine things like a bed and bathroom routines, how many times they are getting up from the bed, so how long they are spending time on the bed. So all of those. And the alerts will be sent to the professional caregivers, family members as well. And it also has the health and mobility report. Alert system monitors activities and health conditions. And when it comes to prevention, it builds an individual activity persona. And it flags the risk of any kind of an accident. It's basically predicts. It not just alerting in case of accident. It also detects. It also predicts the behavioral changes, and then it informs the caregivers. And we also have the dashboard. This is a simple demo that we wanted to capture. We have AITCare-I. That is something we launched it in the month of February 2023. And that is, we have few customers for that one. I'll show you this quick simple demo here. We captured only very few cases. We don't want to show the full demo here. So this is what the caregiver sees. This is basically a caregiver. Whenever caregiver wanted to monitor the older adult using their phone, app, or something, and they see this output. And we are not showing the person. We are protecting their identity by by doing this masking thing. But in backend, we detect all of those, the mood changes, the psychological changes, and everything. The features, what we have is a 24/7 monitoring, and it detects the activities, unusual activities as well. And its app is very easy to set up. And we are working on the sleep tracking. End of this month, we will be launching this feature. This basically it understands the sleep cycle, how long the sleep was, how many times they got up from the bed and then going to the bathroom. So that's complete the routine factors it will understand. And we have a planned thing which is a conversational AI. So our go-to-market strategy is basically go-to-market is B2B currently. We are selling it to the facilities, nursing homes, memory care, senior living community centers, and as well as hospitals. And the next one, we are targeting this in the future. It's a B2B2C, just with long-term care insurance. And currently, the B2B solutions are coming up with these features. They includes IP camera, and then we are also providing solution with a virtual private cloud as well. If the facility comes up with their own cloud, yes, we support that. So our models will be deployed on their cloud. Yeah, currently we are charging $99 per covered user per month. And the market analysis is the Alzheimer, it's close to nearly $400 billion, and total 7 million population we're suffering with an Alzheimer diseases today. And total $50 plus billion they're spending on the accident, just on the falls. And total population that they're suffering with this, every year that are getting affected is more than 3.5 million. And out of pocket money is $8,000 per month. And the growth in senior population is 6%. In the market opportunity, we are targeting this device is actually specifically designed for 80 years and above age population. So the reason is actually the wearables, they cannot remember what to wear, when to wear, those things. Second thing is most of the people, some people doesn't like wearing any wearable devices, and they're not aware of the technology part, like, using devices, smartphones or anything. So it's basically, that's why the camera goes anywhere on the wall or the ceiling. So the human is not, there isn't any human involved in between the technology and then older adult too. So it's directly technology makes the decisions. So the total market is $66 billion. And then addressable market is 22. And then obtainable market 1.1. If you take 5% of 18.3 million population. So 18.3 million population, the older adults who are 80 years and above. And this is based on the 2021 demographic data. Yeah, this is our user acquisition. And our strategy, our business strategy is basically acquiring the users, is more like having strategic partnerships. That's one thing. Working with nonprofit organizations and counties like Marin County, and those people we are working with. We have a strong R&D team. We have 2 scientists working from the Buck Institute, as you all know about Buck Institute. We have neurologists, we have AI/ML engineers. We have a cloud team, completely DevOps and ML ops teams as well. We exhibited the CES 2023 in Vegas. We got very good traction from that. And we have 100 B2B prospect in US. And from India is total, India and Japan, actually 150 B2B prospects. Currently, customers are paying, actually 4 paid customers we have, and 6 contracts, and then 11 LOIs. We are expecting more this month. Yeah, the competitive advantage is clear. We went with the Johnson & Johnson, J&J Aura. We took this as an example. Aura is more like in wearable devices. Johnson & Johnson, they have cloud streaming. They use cameras, IP cameras, but what they don't have is the sleep analysis and those features. They do not have it. But they send the visual confirmation. If the accident happens, the fall happens, for example, they take the snippet of that video and then they send it to the caregiver. And Aura is a wearable, so there is no cloud streaming, but the app is always, it's connected to some smartphones nearby. And it does the sleep analysis part. But our edge device is basically, there isn't any cloud streaming, which is coming in month of December or January 2024. Edge device basically stays inside the home and it doesn't never connect it to the internet unless it's really serious anomaly, things are happening. And there's always a visual confirmation how the person is behaving, what's their behavioral changes, psychological changes, how frequently the mood gets changes. Those we will be recording video and then we store it on the device. Of course, everything will be encrypted. Sleep analysis and conversational AI that we are currently we are working. We'll be launching end of this month, which is sleep analysis. The conversational AI we are pushing to the next year.
You're out of time, by the way, Ravi. So
I'm sorry. Yeah, can I complete this one quickly? This last slide.
yes, yeah, go for it.
So yeah, I have 17 years of IT experience. So I was working for IBM, GPS, ISSL. Was also working for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield. And one of our scientists, she's in India. She's imaging processing. And Durai, I think most of you might know, Durai is a scientist working at the Buck Institute. Munish is an intern for us. He's working at the Buck Institute too. Our advisors, neurologists, we have CEOs, and our customers, the paid customers and the contracts. Right at Home is the biggest one in US. They have 200 plus franchises. And yeah, we recently, contract paperwork was done with them. And we are raising $3 million now we are at the seed round. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you so much, Kris. I'm sorry I took 2 minutes.
No, this is great. Thank you so much for presenting. Do we have audience questions? Let's see if we've got stuff in the chat. This is really impressive. I think one thing we didn't hear a lot about was so just on the differentiation between the Johnson camera and yours. So can you talk a little bit more about what you can learn about people's state of mind from this extra feature that they don't have?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the Johnson & Johnson, they have, they are using cameras. They place the cameras inside the older people places. But what they don't have is the AI part. The artificial intelligence part is missing from that. But in certain cases, if the fall is happening, they're only looking at the falls now. The accident prevention, the accident detection, not prevention side. If the accidents are happening, that's when actually they are capturing that video stream. But they always continuously, they're storing the data on the cloud stream. And the inference happens there. But in our case, we have, as I said, we have 2 solutions. One is the cloud and the other one is the edge. Cloud solution, it streams the data, but it never stores the data anywhere. It just streams the data and then it inferences. Right after the inference, the data gets deleted or removed from the systems. No one else will be seeing that one. But for a visual confirmation to help the providers or the caregivers in case of anomalies or faults, right? We take that 20 seconds of the video, we store it on the device, we send a link, a secure link to the caregiver or an SMS. And when caregiver clicks on that link, he'll get an authenticated, and then the caregiver can see that data. And the provider, most of the time, providers would like to see how the accident happened. So this visual confirmations would help them.
Great. I think there's a question in the chat. Brian, do you want to ask your question?
Yes. Will this be widely adopted in nursing homes as well in home health care in terms of market availability?
Right. That's correct. Currently, we are selling it to the facility centers like care homes, nursing homes, memory care centers, and senior living communities also. Priya Living, for example, in South Bay, they are also using our product. Eventually, we wanted to take it to the home health care agencies.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Kris, Kris, I had a quick question for Ravi.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I think, looking at this slide, it's great to see that, your platform has an additional lens, so to speak, in, analyzing sleep and behavioral in terms of helping to predict mood changes or even observing mood changes. Because, anyone who has an individual that has Alzheimer's, a lot of times those patients may or may not have, sundown, or they may have depression. And this could help caregivers and providers, depending on where the patient is at, to improve their outcome, right? So if they're on certain medication and the medication is not working for them, this will allow the providers, caregivers, to inform their healthcare professionals to perhaps modify those medications to improve that patient. So I think having that additional lens that you can see and predicting and observing really the person while they're on a day-to-day basis is definitely a useful thing for just overall patient healthcare. So I think that's a great addition that you have in your platform that Johnson does not have. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned it right. Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, I think that will wrap us up today. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming, and we will see you next month for some more good presentations. Thanks a lot.